Did you know that lacking just one vitamin can make your bones as fragile as glass, weaken your muscles, disrupt your memory, and a simple stumble could land you in the hospital? Sounds frightening, does it not? What is even more alarming? The majority of people over 60 are deficient and completely unaware. You might think, that cannot be me. I walk every day. I eat normally. But a silent deficiency makes no noise. It quietly saps the strength from your legs when you rise from a chair. Stairs suddenly feel steeper. A mild, sunny afternoon can leave you utterly exhausted. And sometimes, you forget why you just opened the refrigerator. This is not uncommon. Millions of older adults worldwide are facing the consequences of lacking vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. Long winters, rarely stepping outside, applying sunscreen daily, seldom catching morning sunlight, deficiency creeps in faster than you might imagine. And it is not just about bones. It affects how your muscles respond, how your heart keeps its rhythm, how your brain stores memories. Do you see the connection yet? In this video, I will share 7 critically important effects of vitamin D on the health of older adults, from bones and joints to muscles, memory, and cardiovascular health. At the end, there is a surprising truth that even many doctors overlook when discussing vitamin D. No empty promises here. Just clear explanations, practical suggestions, and small steps you can start taking today. If you or a loved one are over 60, watch until the end to safeguard your health and maintain your independence for years to come. Are you ready? Let us begin. 1. Maintaining bone health. Picture your bones as a suspension bridge bearing the weight of your entire body. Each time you stand up, climb a stair, or reach for a high shelf, it is a load on that bridge. Miss just one small link, and the whole structure weakens without you even noticing. For those over 60, that missing link is often vitamin D. It does not shout, it does not cause a fever, it does not sound an alarm. It silently turns a slight stumble on a rug into a genuine risk. And here is what few say outright. No matter how much calcium you consume, without vitamin D, your bones remain starved for building material. Vitamin D is like the key in your small intestine. With it, the door to calcium absorption swings wide open. Alongside phosphorus, your body forms the bricks of hydroxyapatite to fortify your skeletal frame. Without it, you absorb only a fraction of the calcium from your meals. With enough of it, your bones gain the material to rebuild and maintain density. That is why those who keep vitamin D at safe levels often have better bone mineral density and are less likely to spiral into fractures from minor falls. But when deficient for too long, bones soften and become brittle, quietly sliding toward osteoporosis. It is not just the pain of a fracture. It leads to hospital stays, weakened muscles, less movement, and slowly steals the independence everyone wants to hold on to. One more warning: taking extra calcium while vitamin D remains low. The misplaced calcium can build up in soft tissues, adding strain to blood vessels. Calcium is not the answer when the key is still locked. I want you to meet Helen, 80 years old, living in Boston. She loves the sunlight streaming through her window but rarely goes outside in winter, and in warmer weather, she diligently applies sunscreen. In recent months, she said her knees felt hollow when standing, and climbing stairs took longer. One small misstep left her sinking into a chair, startled. What if next time it's my hip? Her doctor tested her, and her vitamin D level was below the recommended range. No miracles here, just small, evidence-based adjustments. Daily vitamin D supplements, as prescribed, a more balanced diet to ensure natural calcium intake, and a few minutes by the morning window to help her body recalibrate its day-night rhythm. After 3 or 4 weeks, she said her legs listened better when she stood. Stairs felt less daunting. The nagging nighttime aches faded significantly. Her doctor scheduled a follow-up to confirm her 25-hydroxyvitamin D level had reached the safe zone, then advised patience, as bone density takes months to improve. When the key turned, the door to absorption opened. Calcium found its place. Her bones gained a chance to strengthen. She said something I will never forget. I changed one small habit, and I reclaimed the feeling of being in control of this body. Are you thinking, I am probably fine? Pause for a moment. The problem with vitamin D is that its absence is silent. Do not wait until a careless stumble turns into a fractured femur, transforming your familiar home into a maze of crutches, wheelchairs, and physical therapy schedules. Start with what is within reach. Talk to your doctor about checking your vitamin D levels. Maintain consistent supplementation as recommended for those with limited sun exposure. Pair it with adequate calcium intake, and stay active within your ability. Remember this: the key must fit the lock. Vitamin D makes calcium work. And do not increase doses on your own. Excess can disrupt blood calcium levels and burden your kidneys. The goal is not a sprint, it is a steady walk. Each day, a small step. Each month, a bit more certainty. Your bones are the suspension bridge of your life. Do not let one seemingly small detail make that bridge tremble. Protecting your bridge today means preserving your independence tomorrow. 2. Strengthening muscles. Have you ever noticed your legs respond half a beat slower when you stand? Stairs seem to grow taller, or your steps lack confidence, as if the ground is slightly sinking. It is not simply getting old. Often, the silent culprit is vitamin D. Vitamin D is not just about bones. It goes straight to the control center of your skeletal muscles. Inside each muscle fiber are locks waiting for vitamin D. When the key is present, muscles activate genetic programs. They contract more powerfully, repair micro damage, and nurture larger fibers, especially type 2 fibers responsible for strength and balance. When it is missing, standing from a chair, climbing a few steps, or turning to stay balanced feels heavy. Falls become more likely than you might think. Studies show this. Below 20 nanograms per milliliter, muscle weakness near the core of the body is common. Maintaining 30 to 50 nanograms per milliliter lets muscles function more smoothly. It sounds technical, but it answers the question: why do my legs no longer listen to me? At the cellular level, vitamin D is like a conductor. It activates mTORC1 to boost protein synthesis while suppressing destructive genes like atrogen-1. It also helps mitochondria produce energy efficiently, so that exhausted feeling after a short walk fades. Without vitamin D, the switch is loose, the brake is broken. Protein breaks down faster than it rebuilds. Strength fades, and overall stability crumbles. The good news? Muscles are remarkably responsive. When you restore this missing link, strength often improves noticeably. Consistent supplementation, typically 800 to 2000 IU daily for those deficient, can strengthen legs and grip in just a few months. Those with severe deficiency see even clearer gains, with quadriceps speaking up again. Over time, you walk faster, fall less, and regain the sense of controlling your movements, like dusting off an old habit. Meet David, 70 years old, who loves his armchair by the window. Lately, he joked, "I guess I am just old," because standing up meant gripping the armrests tightly, and crossing a doorstep felt unsteady. Tests showed his 25-hydroxyvitamin D level was just 15 nanograms per milliliter below the range for healthy muscle function. No magic here, just a small, evidence-based adjustment. 1,500 IU of vitamin D daily as prescribed. Gentle sit-to-stand exercises to retrain his legs, and noting how he felt. 3 or 4 weeks later, he stood more smoothly, wobbled less when reaching for items on a shelf, and stepped into the yard with less hesitation. His daughter laughed. "Dad, you are moving a beat faster now." That is when the vitamin D key was placed back in its lock. But if ignored, each grip on the armrest could inch closer to a real fall, one that could steal confidence and even independence. So, do not rush to blame age alone. See vitamin D as the foundation for every exercise effort to stand firm. With a solid base, workouts take hold, nerve-muscle coordination flows better, and each step regains the steadiness you thought was gone. What to do today is simple. Talk to your doctor about checking your vitamin D levels, supplement consistently if deficient, and maintain a few basic movements daily. Do not wait for a small stumble to become a constant fear. Just one small key, in the right place, for long enough, and your muscles will respond with the strength you deserve in every step. 3. Fighting muscle loss, sarcopenia. If a thief sneaks into your body without making a sound, what would it steal first? For many people over 60, the answer is muscle strength. Not on a Monday morning, nor noticeably on a Tuesday. Just one day, that familiar armchair demands an extra push to stand. The doorstep seems half an inch taller. The doorknob makes you wobble slightly. They call it sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass and strength with age. But there is a silent gatekeeper, deciding whether the door stays open or shuts. Vitamin D. Inside every muscle fiber are locks waiting for vitamin D. When the key is present, genetic programs light up, muscles contract more powerfully, repair micro-damage faster, and fibers grow, especially the fast-twitch fibers responsible for strength and balance. Vitamin D also fuels mitochondria to produce energy efficiently while calming inflammatory signals like IL-6 that accelerate muscle breakdown. Without it, the body slides into a state where protein synthesis slows, breakdown speeds up, and fast-twitch fibers shrink first. Standing up, turning, or crossing a street becomes a test. When vitamin D levels drop below the optimal range, the risk of sarcopenia spikes. Keeping it in the safe zone noticeably slows muscle decline. The numbers sound dry, but the results are vividly real. Fewer stumbles, smoother standing, and the fear of falling takes a step back. The good news? The door can still be opened. For older adults with deficiencies, consistent vitamin D supplementation within recommended levels can slow muscle loss, improve leg strength, and restore a sense of whole-body stability in just a few months. The effect is clearest when paired with gentle resistance exercise. It is like sending your body to a workshop. It gets both the materials and the signals to rebuild. Post-exercise inflammation eases, and repair becomes smoother. Some evidence even suggests that when vitamin D is optimal, nutrients like leucine or HMB can work synergistically, as they activate the same protein-building pathways. No overnight miracles, just small levers placed correctly, long enough. Meet Nora, 85 years old, living alone near a park, fond of carrying her grocery bags to the kitchen herself. Lately, she had to grip the handrail tightly to stand. The walk to the mailbox felt longer, and turning to grab something from a shelf made her unsteady. Tests showed her 25-hydroxyvitamin D level was below the range for healthy muscle function. No panic. She started small, evidence-based adjustments, taking a prescribed dose of vitamin D daily based on her test results, jotting down how she felt in a slim notebook, and doing slow sit-to-stand exercises a few times each morning. 3 to 4 weeks later, her legs listened better when she stood. She stepped into the yard with less hesitation, and the grocery bags did not get lighter. Her muscles just stopped resisting. Stability returned like an old coat that suddenly fit perfectly again. One final, weighty reminder. If you ignore the deficiency, the muscle thief will keep draining your strength reserves, turning a slight pause into a real fall, followed by days of dreading stairs, your own yard, or even that beloved armchair. Start today with what is within reach. Talk to your doctor about checking your vitamin D levels, commit to supplementation if needed, and add a few suitable resistance movements to your daily routine. This is not just about lab numbers. It is a journey to reclaim control over your body one step at a time, so aging does not mean losing strength, but learning to preserve, nurture, and use it to protect your independence. 4. Boosting immunity. If immunity in youth is a rapid response team, then with age, that team slows down, thins out, and tires more easily. That is immune aging. But there is a quiet ally that can bolster both the innate defense line and the adaptive, special forces, vitamin D. Sounds like just the sunshine vitamin for bones? Not quite. In the control room of immunity, vitamin D acts like a conductor, keeping cells in rhythm, timely, effective, and not overzealous. The mechanism is simpler than you might think. Vitamin D spurs the body to produce antimicrobial peptides like cathelicidin, tiny spears, that pierce the shells of bacteria and viruses right at the gateway of the respiratory tract. At the same time, it regulates T cells, strong enough to attack, calm enough to avoid sparking an inflammatory storm. The result? When vitamin D levels are in the optimal range, the risk of respiratory infections tends to drop, and severe outcomes are less frequent. But when deficient, the likelihood of pneumonia, hospitalization, or serious complications rises noticeably. In critical care settings, patients low in vitamin D often face more trouble, a small lock with big consequences. Meet James, 75 years old, living in a community care facility where long winters and shared colds linger. Each change in weather brought a scratchy throat, followed days later by a dry cough and shortness of breath. At his latest checkup, his doctor tested his 25-hydroxyvitamin D. It was below the optimal range. No magic here, just a small, evidence-based adjustment. Each day, James took a prescribed dose of vitamin D as guided, stuck to a consistent schedule, and set a follow-up appointment. 2 or 3 weeks later, mornings brought less throat irritation, pesky coughs no longer lingered, and walking down the hallway felt less taxing. He joked with a friend on his floor, "I'm not turning into a superhero. My immune system just got a warm coat." A small change, but enough to convince him to keep it up through the cold season. Here is a necessary emphasis. If you ignore deficiency, a mild cold can slide into pneumonia. A seemingly harmless virus might trigger an overblown inflammatory response that leaves the body exhausted. Older adults do not need such gambles. What you can do today is clear. Talk to your doctor about checking your vitamin D levels, supplement consistently at the right dose if deficient, and monitor regularly to avoid both shortage and excess. When the conductor is in place, other good habits, sleeping enough, eating balanced meals, moving gently, work even better. Do not wait for a fleeting cough to turn into a lingering wheeze before acting. One small key, turn the right way, can close the door on pathogens and open the way to a more confident winter. 5. Supporting brain health. Have you ever walked into the kitchen and forgotten why you were there, or met a familiar neighbor and found their name stuck on the tip of your tongue? Everyone laughs it off. I guess I am just getting old. But sometimes, behind those moments, a switch in your brain has not been flipped properly. Vitamin D. Do not assume vitamin D is only for bones. It is also a quiet cushion for your nerves, reducing inflammation, combating oxidative stress, and helping neurons communicate smoothly. In the hippocampus, the memory center, vitamin D receptors are abundant. When levels are sufficient, the brain gains fuel to generate new neurons, strengthen synaptic connections, and slow the buildup of amyloid plaques, a hallmark of Alzheimer's. What happens when it is lacking? Signals scramble like static on a radio. Vitamin D acts as a gatekeeper for calcium flow in and out of neurons, keeping focus and memory on track. When deficient, the brain tires quickly, loses flexibility, and memory gaps grow thicker. When adequate, observational studies show a lower risk of cognitive decline, with memory and executive functions holding a steadier rhythm, especially in older adults. Let us be clear, though, this is not a magic wand for advanced cognitive decline. Vitamin D shines brightest as an early shield, prolonging clarity and slowing the slide no one wants. Meet Evelyn, 70 years old, a retired librarian. Lately, she often said, "Give me a moment," just to pull a familiar name from her memory, and once even placed her keys in the refrigerator. Her doctor suggested a vitamin D deficiency. She started small but solid adjustments. 1,500 IU daily is prescribed, plus mental joys like reading short stories and solving crosswords. 3 to 4 weeks later, mornings felt less foggy. Those almost remembered moments grew rarer. Meeting her neighbor, she called out the right name before laughter could cover the gap. "I am not turning into a superhero," she said, "but I worry less when starting a conversation, and I know I will find the word I need." So, do not dismiss those harmless lapses. If you chalk them up to normal and ignore deficiency, cracks can widen. The line between minor forgetfulness and decline blurs, and daily independence erodes unnoticed. What you do today is simple. Treat vitamin D as a shield for your brain, especially after 60 when small signs start to appear. For those deficient, consistent supplementation at the right dose, like studies using 1,500 to 2,000 IU daily to improve visual memory and executive function, even slowing decline by about 10 to 15% can lay a strong foundation for other efforts. Balanced eating, sufficient sleep, and daily brain exercise. No need for loud changes. Just one small switch, flipped at the right time, and you will find your mind clearer, your stories smoother, and the sense of mastering your memory returning like an old friend. Slow, but steadfast. 6. Improving mood and depression. Have you ever noticed your mood shift with the sky? Long, cold days arrive, smiles grow scarce, sleep gets tangled, and enthusiasm fades like tea left out too long. We often blame winter or age, but behind it lies a specific biological switch: vitamin D. It is not just the sunshine vitamin for bones. It touches the pathways that govern serotonin and melatonin, the threads tying together calm, sleep, and mental light. When the switch is flipped right, the brain feels like a room with its curtains drawn open. Not dazzling, just bright enough to set everything in place. The science is far from vague. Serotonin fosters calm and focus. Melatonin keeps the day-night clock ticking smoothly. Vitamin D regulates both, while cooling the low-grade inflammation that wears the brain down. When levels dip, especially below 20 nanograms per milliliter, the risk of sinking into a low mood rises sharply. Fill that gap in those who are deficient, and symptoms often ease noticeably. Consistent supplementation, around 1,000 to 4,000 IU daily, has shown significant improvement in mild to moderate cases. It is not magic. It is simply laying a foundation for other strategies to shine. Winter is the real test. Less sunlight means less vitamin D production, and seasonal mood dips come knocking. Here, vitamin D cannot replace the sun, but it can mimic part of its mood-lifting effect. With doses around 2,000 IU daily in deficient older adults, mental health scores improve, rivaling the benefits of light therapy. Pair that with a few minutes of outdoor movement in the morning's brightest light, and the benefits amplify. The heart warms, breathing deepens, and the brain receives a double signal: light and motion to step out of emotional fog. Meet Patrick, 65 years old, living in a cloudy town. From November, he woke late, skimped on breakfast, and felt the day drag like a clock with a dead battery. His doctor checked. Vitamin D was low. He started a small, solid adjustment, 2,500 IU daily as prescribed, plus a short morning walk in the brightest hour. He jotted down how he felt, not expecting miracles, just waiting to see if the sky inside him might change color. After 2 to 4 weeks, mornings felt less heavy. Gray afternoons no longer lingered without reason. He smiled more easily when his granddaughter pressed a piece of scrap wood into his hand. By week 8, his depression score dropped by about a quarter. Numbers speak, but what he valued more was the battery coming back. Deeper sleep, less mental fog. The message is gentle yet firm. Do not assume winter sluggishness is just a fact of age. Faded days can pile into heavy months. Pay attention to the small switch called vitamin D, especially after 60 and in sun-scarce places. If deficient, supplement consistently with doses widely studied, then seize a short walk in the brightest daylight. That is a simple pair of keys to restart your mental light. Pull the curtain gently. You do not need a flood of sun. Just enough light to see the path. Reclaim your joy and walk steadily through the chilly days. 7. Supporting heart health. Picture your heart as an engine that never stops running. As time goes on, a cold morning or a moment of stress can make it skip half a beat. Just age, right? Maybe. But there is a silent switch that influences its rhythm, the elasticity of blood vessels, and the body's overall inflammation: vitamin D. Behind the scenes, the active form of vitamin D, calcitriol, acts like a coordinator for the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system. When the switch is flipped right, blood pressure stabilizes, vessel walls stay less rigid, and blood flows more smoothly. At the same time, vitamin D dials down inflammation and oxidative stress, two triggers that fuel artery clogging plaques. So, deficiency, common in older adults, comes with a higher cardiovascular risk, but when supplemented correctly in those who are deficient, multiple trials note a clear drop in serious events, especially in people over 60. An important caveat: the benefit shines most in those truly deficient. For those with adequate levels, the effect is not always immediate. Meet Marcel, 80 years old, a retired long-haul truck driver. His high blood pressure was once well controlled, but lately, walking around the neighborhood left his chest heavy, like pushing a stuck door. His home monitor showed numbers that danced unpredictably. Tests revealed a vitamin D deficiency. No magic here, just a small, evidence-based adjustment, a personalized daily supplement dose, heart-friendly breakfasts, and a consistent follow-up schedule. After 2 to 4 weeks, mornings felt less heavy, his blood pressure steadied, the walk to the park became smoother, and that stuck door sensation in his chest grew rare. His wife teased, "You are moving as spryly as when you first retired." He just smiled. "My heart does not have to strain as much." The key message? Ignore deficiency, and blood vessels may stiffen, silent inflammation may linger, and a peaceful day could be interrupted by an event no one wants. Do not gamble when the solution is within reach. Talk to your doctor about checking your vitamin D levels, especially if you are over 60, get little sun, have unsteady blood pressure, or feel vague fatigue. If deficient, supplement diligently with a personalized dose, often low to moderate for older adults, and monitor regularly to avoid excess. Think of vitamin D as a reinforcing foundation, paired with heart-friendly eating and gentle daily movement. It is not a magic wand, but a small key. Turn it in the right lock, long enough, and the heart beats steadier, vessels soften, and the years ahead unfold with the concrete reassurance of each vital pulse. As we close today, fold all these key points into a pocket map to carry with you. Vitamin D is not just sunlight on your skin. It is the quiet foundation supporting life's everyday movements. Keeping bones strong so you stand without trembling, bolstering muscles for steady steps, reducing unexpected stumbles, sharpening memory to stay seamless, fortifying immunity so a cold breeze does not knock you down, brightening mood on gloomy days, and helping your heart beat smoothly like a freshly serviced engine. 7 reasons, 1 message. After 60, vitamin D deserves a place in your plan to preserve independence. What I love most is the moment of exceeding expectations. Just one small, well-placed habit, consistent, proper vitamin D supplementation, can shrink risks you might think you have to accept. Fracture risk can drop by up to 1/5. Respiratory infections can ease by nearly half. Memory gets a lift to stay clear longer. These are not just cold numbers. They are the difference between a life clinging to handrails and an aging journey where you still freely shop, visit friends, and smile as you open your own door. If this resonates, please hit like, subscribe, and share this video with loved ones. Sometimes a small piece of information can change the course of a life. Thank you for joining me. Remember, caring for yourself is never too late. And vitamin D is that small step with profoundly big rewards.